So, hi everyone, I'm Richard, a political analyst from Political Capital, and I'm here to present you our preliminary survey report on conspiracy belief, receptivity to disinformation, and factual relativism in Hungary, Czechia, and Slovakia. Political Capital is part of the Hungarian Digital Media Observatory, and we prepared this report with the help of Central European Digital Media Observatory. We collected our data through personal interviews, while the other party did theirs through online surveys. The data collection took place this year in May. So disinformation and conspiracy mentality. As you can see, a significant part of Hungarian society is susceptible to conspiracy theories, including the Great Replacement theory and the influence of secret organization. This is not as surprising because we found a strong correlation between conspiracy theories and disinformation narratives. For instance, many Hungarians believe that Ukraine has committed genocide against Russian minority living in its territory. Conversely, the Czechs and Slovaks are more immune. They have rather similar attitudes. When it comes to factual relativism, faith in facts and in objective reality seems to be eroding in all three countries. This is particularly true for the Hungarians, where the distrust in media is at record heights. Overall, we can say that 2/3 of Slovaks and more than 70% of Hungarians and Czechs question the veracity of information reported as facts. For instance, the recent overhaul of the Slovak public broadcast has especially prompted questions of objective reporting and continues to negatively impact the trust in media. These epistemological skepticism and pessimism provide a breeding ground for the spread of disinformation and conspiracy theories. When it comes to election interference, Hungarians consider that it's most likely that all three superpowers, the US, China, and Russia, would try to interfere in the EU elections. On the other hand, the Czechs believe that Russia is a country that tries to interfere in the EU elections, and the Slovaks believe that it is actually the USA. But in all three countries, political party references significantly influence the public opinion. Fidesz voters saw much higher chance of a US interference than the opposition voters do. In Czechia, the supporter of the ruling coalition Spolu consider Russia a greater threat than the opposition voters. The ANO supporters tend to side with Babiš in thinking that Russia is not a threat of the same magnitude as the US. In Slovakia, the Smer supporters remain more concerned about the US interventions, while the opposition voters, such as the progressive Slovakia voters, sees that Russia is a true threat. When we move on to the challenges, Hungarians see Russian and Chinese influence as equally important. On the other hand, Czechs and Slovaks see that the Russian aggression is a greater challenge than the spread of Chinese influence. However, external migration remains to be at the forefront. In Hungary, migration is seen as a bigger challenge by the pro-government voters, while Russian and Chinese influence seen as a bigger challenge by the opposition voters. We see similar cases in Slovakia. The Slovak government makes migration out to be a huge issue, while the opposition voters and their supporters are more worried about Chinese and Russian influence. However, in Czechia, migration remains to be a hot-button issue across the political lines. The coalition parties also has called for stricter measures beyond the latest EU migration pact. When it comes to the war, when it comes to the Russian aggression against Ukraine, in all three countries, relatively a few people say that the EU should support Ukraine militarily. This is especially true for the Hungarians, whereas the Czechs are the most supportive. Overall, we can say that the non-military support is the overwhelming point of view. Czechs are the most in favor of extending sanction policy against Russia, whereas the Hungarians are the least. In line with the Orbán government's narratives, most of the Hungarians would be in favor of putting pressure on Ukraine to start peace negotiations with Russia. We can conclude by saying that there is an overwhelming Ukraine fatigue in the region. When it comes to political polarization, we can say that the Hungarian electorate is more polarized than the Slovak and the Czech. But within the Mancinian thinking, which considers politics in a very black and white terms as a battle between good and evil, we can say that all three societies is around similar. In Hungary, it's equally important for the pro-government and the opposition voters that those around them belong in the same political opinion bubble as they do. On the other hand, in Slovakia, there is often an interest of uniting as a society regardless of diverging political views, which may explain why there is a significant lack of familial and social tensions. But we can ask ourselves, is the grass greener on the other side? We can certainly say that most of the Hungarians and Slovaks say that the grass is greener in the Czech Republic. They really have a positive point of view of the country. On the other hand, not many Czechs think that Slovakia is doing that much better. Speculation about the current trajectory of Slovakia, the economic, then the social and the political situation, and the political situation may only continue to deteriorate. Czechs and Slovaks do not see the situation in Hungary positively. However, the Hungarians definitely believe that the grass is greener on the other side. I would like to thank you for your attention. I would like to highlight these are all preliminary results, and we will publish our full studies later on. If you need further information, please visit our website. Thank you for your attention one more time. Bye-bye.